Morning people, hope you're all doing well in these turbulent times. Thought I'd make a video today about my fighter of the year and who I think was the fighter that achieved the most in 2020. Now, I think for most people it's been a difficult year to judge boxing because, the elite level fighters, most of them are getting out once a year, and if that, once a year, they'll be lucky to get out once a year. We see a lot of fighters that didn't even fight this year. But yeah, I think there's a couple obvious contenders. I think before the month of December, you would have only had two names in your mind when you think about this question, and they would have been Tyson Fury and Teofimo Lopez. But I think in December we saw Anthony Joshua in a convincing win over Kubrat Pulev to defend his world heavyweight titles, and Canelo Alvarez becoming somewhat of an official four-weight world champion with a victory over Callum Smith, which he made look easy, which I can assure you, it's not that easy to dominate a fighter like Callum Smith the way that Canelo did. So the front runners for me are definitely Tyson Fury and Teofimo Lopez, even though Anthony Joshua and Canelo had great performances as well. They're sort of the honourable mentions. So that's my honourable mentions, Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez. But the actual contenders have got to be Tyson Fury and Teofimo Lopez. Tyson Fury in February defeated Deontay Wilder to become a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. Knocked Wilder out, something that's never been done before. Wilder was unbeaten, one of the fiercest knockout punchers in heavyweight boxing history. It was no easy challenge for Tyson Fury, and to some extent he was the underdog leading up to that fight. I always believed that Tyson Fury would beat Deontay Wilder in the rematch. Even in the first fight, I believed Tyson Fury would win, simply based on the fact that Tyson Fury is a way superior boxer to Deontay Wilder. Everything about Tyson Fury, his footwork, his speed, his ring IQ, everything about him is levels above Deontay Wilder. I never rated Deontay Wilder as an elite level heavyweight. The only thing that got Deontay Wilder in my top 10 heavyweight list would be the fact that he had a belt, That's the first contender, Tyson Fury. Then moving on to Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez defeated Vasyl Lomachenko in what, in my opinion, was more of an upset than the Fury-Wilder second fight. I think a small group of people gave Teofimo Lopez a good chance in this fight. I mean, I myself admit that I thought it was a bit of a mismatch, and I was maybe a little bit naive making that assumption because I had based that on what I had seen of Teofimo Lopez, and fighters like Teofimo Lopez, young fighters that haven't had that many fights, it's difficult to judge them on their previous performances because they've never really been at the level that they're about to step up to. So how can you judge how well a fighter is going to handle the pressure, etc., when you've never seen them in that position before? All I'd seen of Teofimo Lopez was his convincing knockout victory over Richard Commey to become the IBF World Lightweight Champion. But I thought Lomachenko's skill set was far superior prior to the fight. But then when you watch the fight, Lopez to some extent controlled that fight and convincingly defeated Vasyl Lomachenko. And there's beating Vasyl Lomachenko, and then there's convincingly controlling and dominating Vasyl Lomachenko, which is what Teofimo Lopez done. So I can give, I can't give Teofimo Lopez enough credit for what he did against Lomachenko. But so between the two, I think I'd have to give Teofimo Lopez my fighter of the year. And the reason that I give Teofimo Lopez that title over Tyson Fury is the fact that Teofimo Lopez, I believe, from my perspective, was a much bigger underdog going into that Lomachenko fight than Tyson Fury was against Deontay Wilder in the rematch. Because if we're honest, Tyson Fury won that fight against Deontay Wilder in the first fight, so it wasn't a shock to see Tyson Fury beat Wilder in the rematch. the way that he went about it, the strategy, that was the surprising thing. But I think in terms of an overall upset, I think Teofimo Lopez's win over Lomachenko was far superior in terms of the way Lopez dominated Lomachenko from the first round. Obviously, Lomachenko crept back into the fight in the later rounds, but I mean, you could argue that that's only because Teofimo Lopez has not been, 12 rounds that many times to have the experience to know how much he's got in the, how much energy he's got left in the gas tank, etc. But yeah, guys, if you watched up to this point, thank you for watching the video. Let me know if you disagree, if you think Tyson Fury should be the fighter of the year winner. Tell me your reasons why in the comments below. Like the video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new.